welcome to another installment of Miss Blaine's Corner. Today I will be talking about observing the development of individual children. And this video is primarily for caregivers, but parents watching and seeing what your children are doing, observing, is still very important. Okay, the first item is a checklist. Now, what is a checklist? A checklist is a register of behaviors, skills, or characteristics that the observer marks off if they are present. Useful checklists have clear items that leave little room for personal interpretation. Checklists usually investigate easily observed behaviors or skills within their natural context. Checklists may also focus on characteristics of curriculum or an environment. The information on a checklist may be gathered from single or several observations, or the observer may want to include data from other observational records on the subject. Now, what is the purpose of a checklist? They are primarily used to access current characteristics of an observational subject, a child, a teacher, curriculum, or environment, and to track changes in these characteristics over time. The second purpose of a checklist is to track changes in characteristics over time. There are plenty of case studies out there where they observe a child at a year and a half and then observe them again in 2 years to see the difference, to record to make sure that the child is developing correctly. Okay, so here are some basic steps in developing a checklist. You need to select an appropriate topic, research the topic in libraries and classrooms, identify clear, distinct items, design a recording form with the traditional heading and checkboxes. Consider adding space for comments at the bottom of the form. Then, pilot test the instrument and revive if necessary. As with science and anything, and even in the early childhood field, make sure you use a scientific method. You identify a problem, you research, you test out your observation method, and then you revise if necessary. Let's see. Checklist, interpret the data. Interpret in the data, follow through with your plan, and then at the end of the checklist, interpret your data, follow through those plans. Now, the strengths and limitations. A checklist is an efficient, usually convenient observation method to access the presence of specific behaviors, skills, and characteristics. It's valued for its simplicity and time efficiency. They provide the observer with opportunity to learn about the subject through authentic observations, but the data should also help lay the foundations for responsible teaching strategies and activities, as well as program fine-tuning. Those who use checklists may be tempted to limit their views of the skills, behaviors, or characteristics in the checklist. A checklist only notes whether a characteristic is present. Typically, it does not indicate gradations of development within an item. The checklist only marks the mastery. There's other ways to kind of get that gray area. For example, all, some, or none. Mastery, learning, not applicable. Now, with any observation, be careful of the biases. Generally, a lot of people don't recommend a parent observing their children because a parent is overly biased. You know, you have a lot of emotions invested in this child. There's something called the halo effect. The halo effect is a susceptibility of an observer to be influenced by preconceived ideas or impressions. Effective teachers will evaluate data-formed checklists and other observational methods to maximize understanding of individual children or programs. You have to leave it out. You have to leave your personal bias out of it. Now, let's talk about anecdotal observations. Anecdotal observations are observational methods used to summarize a single development incident after it occurs. The summary records who, what, how, and sometimes when or where. It does not tell why. It is a very powerful tool to understand the whole child. It is an easy way to collect and analyze significant happenings. Anecdotal records fundamentally aim to document significant and ongoing evidence of a child's development through selected observations. Teachers observe and record behavioral patterns, changes, progress, milestones, or uncommon happenings based on growth indicators, which you can find online or in textbooks. There's all kinds of information out there. You just have to know what to look for. So check out anecdotal records and, see what some basic growth indicators are. Usually the milestones are helpful as well. When you're recording an anecdotal record, they may involve interaction only with a single child-child interactions, or adult-child interactions. It's not so much group. Recording over time to gather information on domains of development: physical, cognitive, psychosocial, and creative. So anecdotal records, you do one anecdotal record, and then a few weeks later maybe you'll do another one and another one and another one. A lot of centers already require anecdotal records as part of your typical observation skills. So when you do parent-teacher conferences, you have some examples of things the child has done. In terms of guidelines for anecdotals, they're recorded frequently in early childhood classrooms. They are the backbone of portfolios. And in another Miss Lynn's Corner, we will most likely I'll most likely talk about child portfolios and teacher portfolios for what you should include and what you should not include. But that concludes 2 of the types of observation methods within early childhood studies. Thank you for watching Miss Corner, and have a great day. Thank you.